Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 2 of the anime series Kantai Collection, KanColle. Another fun episode in this series. We're only 2 episodes in, but I'm really highly glad I decided to stick with this series because I love the immersive environment, not just the characters who are all standout characters, very cute, kawaii, and, you know, as in the case of the sort of primary character, Fubuki, this is a character that has a lot of heart, and she has aspirations toward doing the best she can, and is a character to be admired, even though the emphasis of this episode is that she really has a long way to go training-wise, and she's kind of klutzy, landing on her face and everything like that. But I love the immersive environment surrounding these lovable characters. It reminds me very much of a series I covered not too long ago in episodic reviews, that being Toaru Hikuushi Ino Koiuta, or the pilot's love song, as well as I could probably say Attack on Titan, in that the world is very immersive and welcoming from right off the bat. It's very Holmesy, for lack of a better term. The design of it, the look of the classrooms, almost having a nautical aesthetic, this being a seaside sort of, you know, school, and all this kind of stuff. I absolutely love the little nooks and crannies of the backgrounds and the designs of the buildings and everything. It just seems like a real immersive environment. And the characters themselves, as I say, they're adorable, they're hilarious. You know, as we're opening this episode, we're basically seeing Fubuki is putting herself through a early morning, you know, training regimen. She ends up catching Sendai, coming off, I guess, night maneuvers or night watch, maybe even night training herself. And she's really putting herself through a self-imposed, you know, rigmarole of trying to do the best she can and hone her skills. But she does, as I say, have a long way to go. And we're seeing that the Admiralty office has sent Nagato, basically, you know, secretary officer, whatever you want to call her, to oversee Fubuki's progress at, you know, being a marksman, hitting targets, being able to stay upright on top of the water and all this stuff. And it comes into question in the overall sort of arc of this episode. Is she going to be good enough? You know, are we going to have to scrap her and go back to plan and find someone else, an alternative, you know, for the torpedo squad and all this stuff like that? And so it's got a little bit of suspense in that framework, but I love that a lot of the rest of it is sort of lighthearted and comedic. Just love the vibe of this series. Of course, in the classroom, we're debuted once again to the character Yudachi, who is probably the standout character for this episode to me, because when she's nervous, she keeps saying "poi," and she's put on the spot by their teacher because she hasn't done her homework, and she's not really familiar with the studies. She's, as they're, you know, heading to class, trying to get Fubuki's homework to copy off of and everything like that. Just a really fun character. And we see that Fubuki, in trying to hone her skills and trying to train herself, you know, she wants to go after her sort of idol Akagi, who is that archer I spoke about in the first episode review. And she goes to this sort of bathing area looking for Akagi, but the problem is she runs into somebody else, a sort of well-endowed woman who just slams her chest right into Fubuki's face, makes her uncomfortable, and she's not even aware that Akagi is there at one point. You know, the entire place is sort of vacant, so she's getting comfortable in the water, the sort of hot spring, whatever you want to call it, and that's when, of course, she realizes, oh crap, Akagi's over there sitting in her own little pool, her own little whirlpool healing, and there's this special bucket of this green fluid that comes out, ordered by the Admiralty for Akagi, to help her healing process, which I guess would take like 15 some odd hours or whatever it is, or like half a day, and it basically brings that countdown right down to 1 automatically, and she's all shivering with ecstasy of healing, I guess you could say. And then adding to the myths and the gossip and rumors about Akagi, we see that at lunchtime she has a gigantic pile of food, rice and fish or meat, whatever it is. Fubuki's just kind of astounded, and she's loving this, you know, basically idol worship character the more she hangs out with her and all that kind of stuff. When she goes back to her room, of course, she's being questioned by Yudachi and her other roommate about Akagi and whether it's true that she eats so much. But all amidst this, we basically have Sendai and her sort of sistership compatriots, you know, Jinsu and Naka. They are also putting Fubuki through the ringer, through the training ringer. as it were. And the hilarity just ensues because, of course, Sendai is trying to train her at night. As soon as she comes back, you have Jinsu trying to train her during the morning, and she's desperately trying to get sleep. She's not slept at all in like a day. And then you have Naka coming in, and Naka, she's a hilarious character in that she's the idol singer wannabe, and her sort of aesthetic and approach toward training Fubuki is to make her the embodiment of an idol singer too. Make her kawaii, make her sing in front of a crowd, win the hearts of babes and everything like that. And she also is continually asking these two other characters, can you teach her how to fire torpedoes and the ins and outs of that, which eventually does, after some arm twisting, happen toward the end of this episode. And where we leave it is, of course, Nagato is once again watching over this scene as, Fubuki is being tested with her training. And Fubuki is still falling on her face. She's still a little bit clumsy, but you do see that she actually does make a couple of the targets. She actually does hit them. And you have those three girls who were trying and attempting to train her, resolving the fact that, you know what, she really does have heart. She is a torpedo ship in soul. She has that capability of and drive, really, of just keeping going and keeping trying over and over again, not giving in to failure, not, sort of giving up on herself. And so Nagato smiles at that. She's actually like, well, that's progress. That's good. That's what we need in this particular squad. And I love how she's basically taught, that is to say Fubuki, this, I guess you could say mantra from, I think it's Jinsu, where basically she's supposed to kind of think of this internally, but the phrase is something along the lines of without dissent, without shame, without resentment. And I will do my best is what I guess you could say caps off that sentiment. And so this show, it's just all kinds of awesome. I love the sort of tech that they're carrying around, the missile launchers and everything, as almost backpacks and boots, and but it is actual sort of military in look and in style. And it all harkens back to the, Japanese warships of history that they are meant to embody these girls. And I love, somebody commented on my episode 1 discussion video that when it comes to Sendai, her particular warship that she's modeled after was one that was, basically used for night maneuvers and such like that. That's why she is a night owl as a character. She embodies the soul of that vessel in a sense. And that's... it's based on real-world history. I love that. I love that, mixing interplay in with this just group of lovable, memorable characters. And I can see why it has such a strong fan following, which I've been learning about. And if ever I get any of the facts wrong or I'm left guessing, feel free to comment in the, comment section below, obviously, with any sort of pointers or anything, as long as it isn't spoilery and stuff like that, about character aesthetics or, what things amount to in case I'm left guessing. And because this looks like a really fun series, I'm going to have a blast watching it. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and that it finds you well. And I'll catch you all later. Peace.